If you want to achieve all of your goals, the first thing you need to do is start thinking of your goals like a woman. You cannot force a woman to like you. You must attract that woman. I'm sure we've all been in a position in our lives where we like to go. I've been there, and I'm sure you've been there as well. And maybe you thought that the way you'd get that girl to like you is by texting her loads. So you send her one message, and she doesn't reply in 30 minutes, let's say. And rather than thinking, maybe she's busy, maybe she's doing something or she's not on her phone, you think, let me double text her. And maybe then she'll reply faster. So you send another message. And then an hour later, you look again and she still hasn't replied. So you send a third message. And now you start becoming that needy guy that she's telling her friends, this guy keeps messaging me. Why won't he leave me alone? Or you're with her in real life and you compliment her 10 times. Maybe the first time she was flattered. Maybe the second time she smiled. And the third time she thought it was cute. But after the fourth or fifth time, it starts getting a little weird and you start becoming this creepy guy. You can't be needy if you want a girl to like you back. The only way you can get that girl to like you back is by attracting her. In other words, becoming the type of guy that she would like. Now, you're not going to do that for her alone. You're going to do it for yourself because you want to become the best version of yourself. But the point I'm making here is needy guys never get the girl that they like. We all know that time when we liked a girl, but she liked the cool guy. The guy who wasn't doing too much, wasn't going over the top. He wasn't necessarily nonchalant and he didn't care at all. Maybe he was sometimes. But he just knew when to draw the line and to not overdo it. And that's how you have to be with your goals. Be cooler. Be less needy. Focus on attracting the woman. Focus on attracting your goals. And the way that you attract them is by working on yourself. There's no easy route. You have to become the best version of yourself and reach your full potential in every single human metric. There was a time where no girls, that's not true. There was a time where less girls found me attractive. Maybe the ones I wanted or the ones that I thought were admirable weren't the ones that liked me back. Let's put it that way. But what did I do? I worked on myself. I went to the gym and I was consistent there. I improved my communication skills. I learned more about female psychology and realized that you can't talk to women the same way that you talk to maybe your male friends. I improved myself in every single way I could. And before I knew it, when I was no longer focusing on trying to get that girl to like me back, now she liked me back. And that's how it works. You need to become the cool guy. You need to become less needy with your goals. If you are doing way too much, you're going to scare them away. Your goals are going to see you doing too much and they're going to run in the other direction. Instead, focus on becoming the right person so you can attract your goals. And maybe you want to improve, but you don't know how to improve. I have a community where I help young men live purposeful lives and reach their full potential. And everyone in my community right now is winning like crazy. Everyone is leveling up in every single area. Confidence. People are respecting them more. Their communication skills are improving. They're becoming more magnetic and their social skills are elevating. They're getting bigger in the gym. You name it, any area of life pertaining to a young man, they're improving. If you want help from me and you want to be surrounded by these like-minded individuals from around the globe, then click the link in my description and join my community. But the second way that you're going to achieve all of your goals is by becoming the person who has already achieved that goal. When I say this, what I mean is you reverse engineer. So you ask yourself the question, what exactly is it that I want to achieve? And once you figure out what you want to achieve and you're super detailed and you're super specific, you start living your life the same way that that person would live. The version of you that has already achieved their goals. So there was a rowing team. I think it was the rowing team for Great Britain, and they just missed out on a medal. So they got in a group meeting. They were all devastated because they hadn't got the medal that they worked 4 years for in the Olympics. And they said, how can we get a medal at the next Olympics in 4 years? And they figured it out. They wrote out a long list and they all decided and they made a promise to each other in the team. We're going to do everything in our power to get that medal. In their minds, they started living like the person who was going to get the medal. And every single decision they made in life had that goal in mind. If they wanted to stay up a bit later, will this help me get the medal at the next Olympics? Yes or no? The answer is no. So they go to bed. Should I eat this chocolate bar or this chocolate cake? Will this help me get the medal at the next Olympics? Yes or no? The answer is no. So they don't eat the chocolate. Should I go on this run or do this gym workout even though I don't feel like doing it today? Will this help me get the medal at the next Olympics? Yes or no? The answer is yes. So they do the workout. You get the idea. But they began with the end in mind. And they started living like the version of themselves that had already achieved their goals. And surprise, surprise, they got to the next Olympics and they got the medal that they were after. And that's what you need to do if you want to achieve your goals. Right now, I want you to write down somewhere on your phone, on a bit of paper, write down your goals specifically. Know exactly what you want to achieve in life. And as soon as you figure out what you want to achieve, start living like that. Ask yourself, how would they live? What would their day look like? How can I start doing that now? And as soon as you start living like that, I promise you, your goals are going to be attracted to you. Because again, we can't force our goals to be achieved. We have to attract our goals. And that's the way you attract your goal. You live like the person who has already achieved that goal. And another thing as well, if you want to achieve that goal and you want to live the way that person would live, start doing the things that that person would do. Now, more specifically, what I mean is, let's say you've told yourself, I want to be a millionaire. And the reason I want to be a millionaire is so I can look after my family and I can give to people in need. Don't wait until you're a millionaire to do those things. Because the truth is, if you wait until you're a millionaire, you probably won't do that when you're a millionaire because you haven't built up the habit of looking after other people. So start doing it in whatever capacity you can now. If you say you want to be a millionaire so that you can look after your family, why don't you try and look after your family in whatever capacity you can now? So maybe if you can help your family grab some groceries, go and grab it for them. If you have some money left over and you could take your mum out to eat at her favorite spot, why don't you do that? It won't cost you too much. If there's someone in need who needs just a little bit of money so they can get a shelter for the night and not get drenched by the rain, why don't you help them out? You have enough to give them. See, you're living out the life that the version of you who has achieved those goals would live. You're living that way already. And through doing that now, you will attract your goals. And you will also be way happier and way more fulfilled. Because the reason I say this, and I use that specific example, is because a guy in my community was saying that he wants to become a millionaire in the next few years. He set himself that goal. And I said, that's great. I said, but why do you want to achieve that goal? And he said, to look after my mum and my dad, look after my parents. And I told him, can't you start doing that now? Rather than waiting for X period of time to do that. And during that period of time between now and when you achieve that goal, you're miserable because you can't do what you want to do, which is look after your parents. I said, can't you start looking after them from today? I mean, it's Friday. Buy your parents a meal or something. And that's how you have to live your life. If you want to achieve your goals, I know you put so much pressure on yourself and you want to be miserable until you achieve them. But try and enjoy your life now. Try and do some of the things that you would do when you have achieved your goals now. You have the example there, looking after your parents. Look after your parents in whatever capacity you can now. Don't wait until you achieve that goal. Start doing it from this moment. But the third way you're going to achieve all of your goals is by detaching from the outcome. Detach from the outcome. A lot of people focus only on the output. The output is a goal. Let's say you want to become a millionaire. Let's use that example again. Or you want to become a UFC champion or a boxing world champion. That's the output, the final destination. But I'm saying, don't focus on the output. Completely detach from the outcome and focus on the inputs. The truth is, you cannot fully control the outcome. You cannot fully control the output. You can influence it, but you cannot fully control it. And me personally, I don't believe in focusing on things you cannot control. Because if you focus on something you cannot control, you become powerless to that thing. But when you control the controllables, meaning focus on what you can control, you give yourself all the power. So focus on your inputs. Focus on what you can do today to achieve that goal. Again, in that last step, I said define your goals clearly. Make it specific, make it detailed. Know exactly where you want to go and what you want to achieve. Now that you know that, because you've done that, ask yourself, what can I do today that will allow me to achieve that? And that kind of works hand in hand with how would that person live their life, because the two will be linked. But focus on your inputs. Focus on what you can do today that will get you that result. And when you focus on your inputs and you actually do the thing that would help you get closer to that goal, putting one foot in front of the other each day, one day you'll look back and you realize you've made so much progress and you're actually living out that goal, or you're so much closer to that goal than you were when you started. And you can actually learn to enjoy the journey rather than focusing on the destination and being depressed until you get there. I'm telling you, I know so many people who are trying to achieve their goals and they're depressed. Because all they care about is the outcome. All they care about is achieving that goal. But they have the wrong mindset. And I don't want you to fall into that trap, because I've been there as well. You're super unhappy. And you're even forcing that unhappiness because you haven't achieved that goal. Instead, focus on your inputs. Learn to enjoy the process. Learn to enjoy each and every day. Try and separate from the future and the past. Just focus on today. Be present. Live it out to its full potential. For me, I always lie down in bed at the end of the night, at the end of the day, and I ask myself, if I were to die right now, would I be fulfilled? Would I be okay with that? Have I squeezed all of the juice out of today? And if the answer is no, then I get up the next day and I try and fix that. But if the answer is yes, then I go to bed a happy man, and I wake up and I try and do the same thing again. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to make the most of every single day. Focus on your inputs. Detach from the outcome. And linking to not being needy, when you actually detach from the outcome, you become less needy. Because a person who is solely focused on the outcome and is always thinking, when will I achieve this goal? I need to achieve this now. You're going to become super needy. You're going to do things and make decisions out of desperation rather than abundance, which is really important. You're going to try and make things happen quickly, and you're going to rush the process rather than letting the process run its natural course. I've said this before. I don't mind things taking long as they're not taking longer than they should. If the journey from A to B takes 10 years, I don't mind that journey taking 10 years. But if it takes 12 years, now I'm wasting 2 years of time. So sometimes things do take a long time. Sometimes you have to wait for a while. But just because it takes a long time doesn't mean that you're wasting time. And a lot of people focus on the outcome, and it's taken a long time to get to that outcome. And they get impatient, and that's why they make rash decisions. They get super needy, and they ruin everything. But if you detach from the outcome and you focus on your inputs, taking each day one at a time, you become way less needy. You focus on today. What can I do right now? And you do that thing. Trust me, if you continue focusing on the future, focusing on that outcome, you're going to go crazy. I've been there. You're going to be grabbing your hair like, when is it going to happen? You're going to be checking your phone notifications. When am I going to get that notification? When am I going to get that email? When am I going to get that message confirming it's happened? Calm down. That's not how you're going to achieve your goals. Again, we must attract. We cannot force. We cannot be needy. So breathe in. Breathe out. Let your shoulders drop a little bit. Focus on your inputs every day. Become way less needy. And trust me, you'll realize you're making progress. And you'll realize that you get to your goals much faster than you would have if you were focused on achieving it every day. And you focus on the goal every single day. Relax. But if you want more advice like this, if you want help achieving your goals, whatever they may be, I have a community where I help young men live purposeful lives and reach their full potential. And I would love to help you level up. You get personalized help from me. You'd be surrounded by a community of like-minded individuals. And there's lots of great content in there. Lots of video, step-by-step practical guides, and plenty more. If you're interested, click the link in my description, and I'll see you in the community.